What's up, and welcome to episode 191 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton. We are back after a week off, and of course, I'm joined, as always, by Woody V. What's happening, brother?
Not much, Robbie. It's been a really busy time in my life of late. I mean, settling on a new piece of land to build a house, getting a new job, man, a lot going on in my life. But anyway, enough about me. How was your holiday?
It was really good. Yeah, it was good. So I went to a couple of places in Asia, and just good to get away from things for a while. And back to reality this week, and back to work and everything else like that. But it's good in Asia too. All the NBA games start that a little bit earlier, so you can sort of wake up and watch a game as you're having breakfast, which is pretty cool. So yeah.
It does feel like a little bit of a break since we've done this, man. So it's good to be back.
We obviously did that pre-recorded episode. We've had some really good feedback with the great Liam Moss from the Hills Hornets. So that was our last episode. But yeah, resuming normal service today, and I feel like we've got a lot to talk about as always.
For sure, man.
So, nice. Well, before we get into the jerseys, just a reminder, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. On YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, all those sort of things. We definitely appreciate that stuff. And yeah, why don't you show us the jersey you're wearing today? Both rocking some white jerseys today.
For sure, man.
So Woods are stand up rocking the nice throwback number 5 New Jersey Nets Jason Kidd jersey. Nice looking jerseys. Those ones, a bit of a throwback to the early 80s.
This is the ABA.
Yeah,
it's the ABA jersey for the New Jersey Nets, right? Firstly, I want to shout out to a guy named Jad. I've been working with Jad in the tech industry for a little while. I had lunch with him the other day, and I told him about the podcast, right? So Jad, if you're listening for the first time, this one's for you. He said my favorite player of all time is Jason Kidd. Right, he's my favorite. He's a point guard himself. So I thought, let me wear the Jason Kidd jersey, do a little bit of tribute to Jason Kidd today. So just a little bit about Jason Kidd. He was born on the 23rd of March, 1973 in San Francisco, California. You've seen Rappin' Forte, give him a lot of shout outs in his songs and stuff, being from the Bay Area as well. So in popular culture, everyone knows Jason Kidd, 6'4". He was the second overall pick in the 1994 NBA draft by the Dallas Mavericks. He had a playing career that went from 1994 to 2013, Robbie, so very durable. Played for the Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, New Jersey Nets, a second stint at the Dallas Mavericks before finishing at the New York Knicks in 2013 before embarking on his coaching career with the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. Also spent a little bit of time as an assistant with the Los Angeles Lakers before taking on the reins as head coach of the Mavericks right now. Now sit down for a second. I'm going to read out his career highlights for you, Robbie. NBA champion in 2011. Really nice coming back to the Mavericks to win that championship, right? 10-time NBA All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Teamer, All-NBA Second Team once in 2003, 4-time NBA All-Defensive First Team, 5-time NBA All-Defensive Second Team. He was the NBA Rookie of the Year in 1995. NBA All-Rookie First Team in 1995, and he was a 5-time assist leader. Now, we talked about Jason Kidd the other day in terms of who are some of the greatest rebounding guards of our time, right? And we put him in that conversation alongside Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robertson, and so forth, right? I want to ask you a couple of things about Jason Kidd. First of all, I'm wearing this Nets jersey, right? Now, that Nets team, it often gets slept on, how competitive they were, and the runs that they had in the early noughties, right? What do you remember about Jason Kidd and his time as a leader on that Nets team?
It was a fun team, wasn't it? They used to sort of get up and run the ball up the court. Was it 2 consecutive finals appearances they had at that time as well? And just, ran into some tough Western Conference, teams at the time sort of thing. But yeah, they were always a fun watch, weren't they? He worked well with guys like Kenyon Martin. I'm trying to think who else was on that one. Lucius
Harris, Kerry Kittles, Aaron Williams, Josh Boone, Vince Carter a little bit later. Anthony Johnson, I think, might have been on one of those teams as well. So, I mean, he didn't have, until Vince Carter came, it was a young Richard Jefferson, it was a young Kenyon Martin, right? He basically single-handedly took that team to the promised land with a bunch of guys that really just, look, we're going to go along for the ride with J. Kidd, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Shows the kind of player he is. He can come on a court and make everyone around him better, right?
Do you know one of the big things I remember about Kidd Wood? So when he came out of college, I remember watching him in Cal when they used to have those games on ABC and that. He could not shoot to save himself.
I know.
He was a liability with the outside shot. And he worked on his craft there. He was a really good three-point shooter, and he was right up among the three-point leaders in makes per game towards the end of his career, which if someone would have told me that at the start of his career, I would have been shocked with that. But he really almost reinvented cemented his game, isn't he? And became like a really, a really reliable outside shooter, which is a surprise.
For sure. In 2 of his years in Dallas, 2008-9 and 9-10, he shot 41 and 42%. If we go back to his first 2 years in Dallas, he shot 27 and 33%.
Yeah.
So you see that significant improvement he made.
Yep.
Now, there's been a lot of doubts about Jason Kidd as a head coach. Is he actually a good head coach, right? Now, he didn't start off too great, but I think he's warmed to the role pretty well. And, he's got these weird things. Put Giannis at the point guard position. Put Cooper Flagg at the point guard position. He thinks outside the box a little bit. But I think he's done an okay job.
I think he's decent. I mean, look, the wins aren't too good this year for Dallas, and they've had their injury concerns.
Yeah, for sure.
Things like that. But, look, he's had some good teams to work with. There's no doubt about that. He's definitely, always seems to land on a team where there's some superstars and everything else like that. But no, I think he's someone that will continue to sort of get an opportunity. And maybe if it doesn't work out in this role as Dallas, he may be one of those guys that's kind of a long-term assistant. You mentioned he was an assistant with the Lakers for a little bit there, but I think we're going to see him around the league for a long time in some sort of capacity.
Yeah, for sure. And Jad, if you're listening to this, man, write into the show, leave a message on YouTube or on Twitter, and let us know how much Jason Kidd means to you and why he was so important to you growing up and loving this game. Yeah.
Nice. And nice to see an old school Reebok jersey as well.
Yeah, for sure, man.
There's not a lot of those around. They're always weird sizes too. I'm sure, is that one sort of bigger than most of your jerseys?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They're always random sizes, right? But yeah, they're nice.
I had to look really hard to find it amongst my collection, so I'm glad I got it. Yeah.
Well, I've told you off a couple of times to wearing jerseys I've already worn before. I don't think I've done it before, but and we joke, about running out of jerseys. Well, no, I think I've probably got about another 400 to go. But I wanted to wear one that I wore about maybe a year and a half ago. I think it was an episode we had Squin on sometime last year. I'm going to say it. It's my favourite Atlanta Hawks. So I'm going to stand up and show you who I'm rocking.
I was there with you when you bought that jersey, right?
The official jersey is what you see when there's a sponsor on. It's one that you can only buy at an actual game. So you were with me when I got this one. I'll stand up and show you.
So Robbie got this in Atlanta when we were in Atlanta recently. It's a white Jalen Johnson #1 jersey. And might I just say, guaranteed to be an all-star this year, Jalen Johnson?
It's got to be a guarantee, otherwise I'm not tuning in, sort of thing. And look, I'm not going to pat myself on the back like I always do when I talk about it. I want to ask you some thoughts. I mean, I know we're both high on him. He signed that 5-year extension last year, which ended up being a pretty good deal, a really good deal, I would have thought, for the productivity we're getting from him. But how good has he been this year, and what's sort of standing out for you with him leading the team with Trey out at the moment?
Well, I said to you last year on one of our Hawks talks, right, before Jalen got injured last year, that this is Jalen's team now. It's not Trey's team anymore, right? And he said, I'm not sure if we're there yet. Are you sure now? Are we there now?
Oh, absolutely. It's his team completely. I mean, he does everything.
I think his ability to rebound the ball at such a high level is something that we've slept on, right? He's improved his outside shot. He's very selective in his decision making, right? He doesn't make very many mistakes on the court. He's not very turnover prone. He's really honed in a lot of things that we saw led him down in his initial few years, right? It comes with growth. It comes with development. I think Quinn Snyder's been a great coach for him. And we're seeing the evolution of him right before our eyes.
Definitely. You know who his game compares a little bit to these days? Giannis.
Yep.
Giannis can get that rebound on the defensive glass and run it down and either take it all the way to the basket, throw down a dunk, or take it all the way and then kick it out to someone in the corner for a three. So I can see some similarities there. And you're right about that outside shot. I mean, look, he's still not an amazing shooter, but he's handy. He's hit some big shots in some big games and crucial moments as well. So, yeah, I love his court vision as well. He's someone that can drive in, jump up in the air, which, you get taught as a junior not to do that, but jump up in the air and then find someone. And Hawks have got a lot of, corner spot-up shooters, whether it's Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's averaging 20 points, by the way. So if one of these two gets most improved as well, I think that one of them's a chance. I don't know who it might be if it is one of them. But
you got to watch Veet, right?
Oh, Veet, mate. Don't sleep on Veet. Checkmate. But yeah, just loving what he's doing this season. Just love the way he goes about it. I don't think he's missed a game for the Hawks this year, which is you can't say for the same for our big mate from Latvia there, who, as I mentioned, he's like that guy you work with that takes a sick day every week without fail. So not quite sure what's going on.
JJ has sat out a couple of back-to-backs this year. Has he?
I feel like he's played every game.
Yeah,
I could be
maybe.
wrong. I'm sure I saw something about that. But either way, look, the Hawks are going pretty well so far. They've dropped I think they're 8th in the East now, which the East is really competitive. Looking at those standings today, I think there's 10 teams over 500. So we've had years gone by where there's been 6 teams.
7th in the East, 7th in 13th and 9th.
They've got Clippers, and I think they've got a weekend double with Denver and Washington. So, if you think if they could get 2 of those, and look, playing the Clippers at home tomorrow, with the way the Clippers are looking at the moment, that's probably one that we should bank there.
Sure. sure.
Yeah, a bit of Jalen Johnson, loving what he's doing. I love this jersey too. I like the old white Hawks jerseys. I actually rocked a white Dyson Daniels jersey a lot of the time I was in Thailand and got a couple of comments and a couple of looks and stuff.
Did you?
Which was pretty cool, yeah.
I got to say that white shirt, neatly ironed, sitting under that white jersey also looks very good, man.
Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. And looking very clean shaven today, I must say. Well, it's good to see.
Thanks, bro.
I'm doing something different with Card of the Week, so I'm going to call it Cards of the Week. So,
Okay, man.
Look, when I was in Thailand...
Your segment, you make the rules.
That's right. When I was in Thailand, I went past this random sort of, kind of like a $2 shop sort of thing. And they had this pack of NBA cards there, right? And like very Chinese-looking pack. It cost 20 baht, which is just less than $1 here. So I thought I'm going to get one of these packs and see how I get, right? So 3 cards inside. They're clearly just like fake cards and everything else like that, but they're pretty cool. 3 cards. This is the actual order that I pulled it. So the very first card, one of my favourite 5 players in the NBA, was a really nice Karl Anthony Towns Minnesota card with him rocking that green. So you can see in the back. I'm not sure. Can you read Chinese or anything? I can't, so I don't know what they're saying about that. So that was a good start. So the brand is SSR, I think. I tried to look at it and everyone's like, yep, fake. Every time I look something up on Google. So anyway, so Cat was the first one, right? So not a bad start. Second card was pretty cool too. So it was like a character card of Ant Edwards, who, shout out to him, got 44 points today. So nice card, that one there. The third card is where it all went a little bit pear-shaped, Wood. So as I'll show you, the third card... Canada's finest, Chris Boucher, right, in the Toronto jersey. Now, I don't know if you can see the name on that, but it says Luka Doncic, right? On the back, it also says Luka Doncic, and clearly a card of Chris Boucher. So, yeah, I mean...
Quality control.
Yeah, quality control. If there's any doubt that these cards were fake. So it just cracked me up, actually, when I saw that. So 3-card pack. So, as I said, cards of the week. Normally I show my best cards. Maybe that could be one of my worst cards, that one. So Chris Boucher with Luka Doncic written on the front and the back there. So, yeah, some nice fake cards. But, hey, it was fun opening them and I had a bit of a laugh.
For sure.
In the food court in the shopping centre in Thailand that I opened it. So, all right, nice one, Woods. Well, yeah, plenty to talk about. We've been off for a couple of weeks now. And as I mentioned to you the other day, and it kind of crept up on me, but we're now a quarter of the way into the season. So every team's played over 20 games now, which is almost hard to believe, right? We're, the day of recording is the 3rd of December there, so pretty crazy to think we're a quarter of the way in. So I thought, given we're over a month and a quarter of the way in, I'd sort of ask you some quick hits, and we'll go through some topics one by one there. So I know you've done your homework and you're prepared for this, so looking forward to your takes on these. So let's start off with a team we have mentioned in recent weeks, but just continues to keep winning, and that's the Pistons. So they're now 17-4 at the time of recording, second in the entire NBA, which is pretty crazy there. So what I wanted to ask you about the Pistons, Woods, is firstly, how surprised are you with this team? And can Cade lead this team to a shock finals appearance?
Firstly, I'm not that surprised, right? They did make that evolution last year. We saw the ascension Cade Cunningham was taking, right? And look, I mean, can they go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals? It's possible, man. The East is wide open. We just talked about it, right? And they've got a team we talked about this offline, you and me, man. They've got a team that's designed to be successful in the postseason. What I want to ask you is this, man. Jalen Duren, off the top of your head, what do you think he was averaging last year? Points and rebounds. Just give me a guess.
I'll say he averaged 14 points and 11 rebounds.
12 and 10, yeah?
Okay. Well,
yeah?
Close. Yeah?
What's he averaging this year?
I mean, I'd say his points would be getting up to like 17 or something.
20 and 12.
Yeah, well, I was going
20 and 12. Okay.
He's a beast,
He's an absolute beast. We never thought he'd get here. I was like, man, Jalen Duren, he's a bonehead. Is he going to, mature and make better decisions? And he's got the skill set, the physique to be great. Now, what I was thinking about, Robbie, is who do they remind me of? Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. Who do they remind me of? A great duo from the early noughties, right? In the pick and roll situation, right? From the Phoenix Suns, yeah? Okay. I'm talking Steve Nash and Amare Stoudemire. I know Steve Nash is a shorter guard, but you've got a creative point guard in a pick and roll situation with an athletic big who's a lob threat, right? And the kind of situations they get into, the action they run is extremely similar to what Steve Nash and Amare Stoudemire did. And I just noticed that comparison watching a lot of Detroit games closely lately.
Safe to say Cade plays a little bit more defense than Steve Nash does. I think yesterday he had, was it 4 steals and 3
6 steals.
6 steals.
Yep.
That's just amazing, right? So, I mean, he's probably in the MVP conversation. I know we've got a question about that coming up. I know there's the Euro guys and the Canadian guy, but he's clearly been the best American. But yeah, look, for me, they've really impressed me, Woods, and they're rebounding. They beat the Hawks yesterday. We could not get a rebound against them. They're a team filled with men, right? Grown men on that team, and you've got younger guys who are grown men like Thompson and Ron Holland, who I know you're on. I'll give you some thoughts on Ron Holland.
Yeah, he's been awesome. So they lost Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. in the offseason, right? Those guys are really critical to their success.
Malik Beasley, by any chance? Or these days?
Yeah.
He's not wearing an orange jumpsuit. I don't quite know where he is.
I think he's about to be cleared, actually. I heard. He's going to be cleared of any wrongdoing, and he's going to be an option for teams to sign if they want to take that risk for him. But yeah, so going back to that, they've lost those two guys, and Ron Holland has really stepped up. He had that potential as a rookie last year, but in every game he's contributing in the stat sheet. He's getting his stocks. He's rebounding the ball at a decent level. He can knock down that open three. And then you've got other guys that are just contributing off the bench. Javonte Green, a veteran, coming here. Isaiah Stewart, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. Where is this Dennis Jenkins guy come from, right? He's contributing right away, right? So, and then you've got
Ivey's dropped down after this injury, and Jenkins is always playing minutes over him.
Yeah, and then you look at that starting lineup. One of the Thompson brothers, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duran, Cade Cunningham, and then whether it be Stewart or Jenkins. And you talked about the rebounding. Also, Thompson with 7 rebounds, Tobias Harris with 7, Jalen Duran with 11, Cade with 8, and Jenkins with 8. That's your starting lineup getting on the glass. And then you got 10 rebounds from Isaiah Stewart off the bench. Yeah. Jesus, right? You're going to get second chance opportunities for your team.
Beef stew there, Woods. I did a jersey order the other day, and I kind of added a whole heap to the cart. I thought I'm going to add them to the cart and then cut a few off there. And I had a beef stew one in there. I like that City edition. It's got a little bit of the teal colour on. So I'm close to getting a beef stew jersey. I reckon that'd be a nice one to get. I like the way he plays, right? He tried to fight the whole Orlando team, was it the other day? I think it was. Orlando pretty much starts fights with every team they play these days. But yeah, shout out to the Pistons. Any other thoughts before we move
Just
on?
quietly, Karis LeVert. We almost a forgotten man, right? Yeah. He's on that Detroit team. He's a veteran now. He's been around the blocks, right? He's also helped that team. Yeah,
it's the depth, right? We didn't even really mention Duncan Robinson there, guy who can knock down big shots when it counts and stuff. So I mean, they're almost a problem with trying to find minutes for some of these guys when they're healthy. But yeah, I quite like watching them play. It's good to see the fans back in the seats at, in Detroit as well, and yelling at Detroit basketball and everything else like that. So yeah, they've been probably the real success story of the year, I would have thought. So,
for sure, I agree.
Right, we'll keep it in the East. And another team that's, we said maybe Detroit weren't a huge surprise. Now, this team is a surprise, right? I'm talking about the Toronto Raptors. They won again today. They're 8 games over 500.
Man, they won today again.
They did. Yeah. I know none of us saw this coming. There's no way. Say we did. So, firstly, we both agree we didn't see this coming, but can these guys keep it up? I mean, they've had a couple of injuries and seem to, they've got RJ Barrett out at the moment, but, Brandon Ingram's playing some good basketball. Scotty Barnes has been good. Quickly's been good. They've got a whole host of sort of unsung heroes are coming off the bench, but can they keep this up?
I think they can. I think the big knock on this squad at the start of the year is, can Scotty Barnes, can Brandon Ingram and Rowan Barrett coexist? You'd actually think no.
You're going by his government.
You'd think no, right? But they found a way to make it work, right? And Scotty Barnes is just a Swiss Army knife. He can do anything on the basketball court. He's improved as a shooter. He's improved as a leader. Yeah. They're well coached, and as you said, they can make some noise, man. They definitely can.
They're a team that when the Hawks come up against them, I'm like, oh, damn. They always seem to have our number, just the same as we have Cleveland's number. Anytime the Hawks play Toronto, it's going to be a really tough game. And, yeah, they've really surprised me and impressed me there. Guys like RJ Barrett, who I've sort of always been pretty fond of, sort of thing, as I mentioned, out at the moment, but he's been really good this year. And nice to see Brandon Ingram healthy, right?
For sure.
Can you rely on him to play a full season? That remains a question to be answered there. But when he's healthy, there's no doubt he's still an elite player there. And look, they're probably a team that will have to have an all-star representative if they continue to play like this. So,
for sure. I think Scotty Barnes might be that guy.
Maybe,
yeah. And you got to remember, Mamu came over from San Antonio as a backup center, right? I know that Jakob Poeltl starts a lot, but he's been out at various times, and Mamu's stepped up into that starting center role and been extremely productive, right?
That's what I mean about some of the guys in this team. Whether you're talking guys like
Jamal Shed,
Shed. These sort of guys, I can't even get his name right, but look, people that aren't household names at all, but they come on and they do their role, right? So,
what about the rookie Colin Murray Boyles? He's impressive as well, isn't he? He's playing already, meaningful minutes.
As well, isn't he?
Yeah, let me check that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I think they've tried to do that. They've tried to get a few Canadians on that roster and everything else like that. But yeah, a team
No.
that, you know,
He's from the United States, man. He's not Canadian. Yeah.
Apologies to him. Look, they're probably not a team that, you know, rate high on the, you know, people's league pass rankings. They're probably not a team. Oh, Toronto's playing. Let's put that on. But if you haven't seen Toronto, put them on and check out why this team is 8 games above 500.
They're fun to watch, man.
They are. Yeah, like the way they go about it there. So, all right. Well, we talked about 2 positive teams in the Eastwards. We're going to talk about one that's I've got a real negative at the moment. That's the Indiana Pacers. So,
yes.
man, these guys have gone from a finals appearance. They've currently got a 4-17 record. I actually had to look to see if that one was a mistake there. That is a shocking record. So 13 games under 500. Look, we expected a little bit of regression with Tyrese Halliburton out, but we did not expect him to be this bad, did we? What is going on in there?
No, I mean, look, Andrew Nembhard's missed a lot of games. Benedict Mathurin has been in and out of the team, right? Yeah. You've got
Ben Mathurin, right?
Ben Mathurin, as we said. Obi Toppin's been out for the whole season. Yeah. Aaron Neesmith has missed a lot of time. Yeah. You know, you had, I think it was Quinton Jackson came in as a point guard and he was absolutely dominating, right? Really, like, helping that team, and he got injured as well. So now you've just got guys coming in and out of the lineup. They've got no continuity. I mean, TJ McConnell missed most of the season up till now, right? So they've actually been hit with the injury bugs, somewhat like New Orleans was last year, right?
Yeah.
And I think this season's always going to be a bit of a write-off for them. Tyrese out for the year. I think all is not lost. Right.
Decent draft class next year by all accounts as well. So maybe this is one they say, look, we're 13 games under 500. The way they're going, they may be 20 games under 500 by Christmas time. So maybe chuck away the season, try and see what you've got out of these guys like, you know, Jarris Walker and our own Johnny Furphy there. Maybe give some guys like that some.
That's what I would do, man. Giving Johnny Furphy, some of those guys a little bit more court time and experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, bit of a shock. You know, like I said, we definitely expected some regression. But when you look down the standings, I think Washington won again, didn't they? They're only a game behind Indiana there. So they're close to being last in the East, which is what a team.
Did Washington win today? I thought they lost today.
Yesterday.
They won yesterday, lost today.
Three wins.
Yeah.
So, geez, that's a strange
thing. CJ McCollum's starting to play pretty well, by the way.
Yeah. Well, they had a win against our Hawks last week.
Yeah. He got 40-46 against us or something.
He's hitting a lot of threes too. So, all right, I wanted to ask you about a couple of teams in the West. So we'll start off with the team. I know you were high on these guys at the start of the year, and I think you quite enjoy watching this team. So the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
Yeah.
So currently the 2nd seed in the West. Look, they're another team. They've missed a lot of. You know, they've had a lot of guys miss time for them. Some key players missing time, whether it's Luka, LeBron's only just come back and not looking great. You know, Austin Reeves has missed a few there. But, are these guys legit? Currently 2nd seed in the West.
I think they're legit, man. And LeBron's taken a back seat. 31 minutes today, right?
Yeah.
10 points, 3 assists. You know? And then you look at Luka's stat line, 31 minutes. And you got 38 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and forget the 9 turnovers. But, you know, that stat line tells you a little bit about the transition this team is taking, right? Yeah. LeBron, in his 40th-plus year or whatever, is going to take a little bit of a backseat. You're going to see Austin Reeves and Luka being the centerpieces of this team, with LeBron being their third wheel. Would you agree with that?
I do. And speaking of centerpiece, what about their center? Dominating, right? Pretty good, right?
Man, he's been awesome. Like, even last year in Portland, I thought he was good. It was a bad situation for him, but he's come in and he's really bought in, right? And then you talk about some of the other role players they've got. What was the knock on the Lakers in the past? The depth was terrible. But like, now you look at guys. Rui Hachimura's got one of the best field goal percentages in the league, man. He's getting his shots 14, 15 points a game. He gets to his spots. He shoots at an effective field goal percentage and takes high percentage looks. You got a guy like Jake LaRavia, right, coming in and contributing at various different times. Jackson Hayes is still there, you know.
Gabe Vincent, right?
Yeah, Gabe Vincent coming off the bench. Vandy, right? These are all guys that are contributing. The problem with the Lakers is they were so over-reliant on a top-heavy and relying on a few people in the past. Yeah. Whether it be some of these guys who've got more experience and become better, or guys they've brought in, like Marcus Smart, even we mentioned. He's had some good moments this year. LaRavia, etc. These guys are helping that team. So the West is a tough situation, man, but the Lakers are going to be competitive.
Yeah, no, agreed. They've been a surprise. They seem to be one of those teams that has those standalone late games on an afternoon. So not today, but it was yesterday. So I feel like I watched quite a bit of their games.
Yeah, me too.
Don't love their home commentators. I've got to say they're probably two of my least favourite commentators to listen to. But fun team to watch, like we said. It's fun seeing Luka ball out, and certainly he's been in the best shape we've seen him. For the next one, Woods, I had a bit of a joint one there. I said we were either going to talk about the two disappointing teams in the West, and that's the Kings and the Clippers. The Clippers have lost 2 more games since I wrote this run sheet. So let's talk about them. So they're both teams are about 10 games under 500. Let's talk about the Clippers. I know I was high on these guys at the start of the season. This is going to be one of my big misses, I reckon. I thought these veterans at Aladdin team might, sort of translate to wins. They've been awful. Hopefully that continues tomorrow against the Hawks. But what is going on in LAC?
Father Time has caught up with a lot of these guys. Brook Lopez looks absolutely washed, right? I mean,
washed.
Yeah, and it's just like guys coming in and out as well, right? Kawhi's been out for a while, comes in, it's
shock, isn't it?
Yeah, not a shock, but there's no continuity. Guys are getting older. John Collins has been so disappointing.
No,
last 3 games he's been good.
Okay,
yeah. But before that, he was not good at all, man. Like last 3-4 games.
Better than Beal, Chris Paul, and Long.
Forget about them. They're gone. They're done, right? John Collins, at last 3 games, I picked him up in a couple of leagues, man. He's been on a bit of a roll, right? And he's found his footing, right? But before that, he was like trying to find his place in this offense. What am I going to do? Where am I going to find my spots, right?
Should they have kept Norm Powell?
Yeah. Yeah, in hindsight, yes.
He was great on that team last year and seemed to be a bit of that heart and soul of the team. They got rid of him and just, I don't know, I don't think the players that have come back and playing those positions have kind of helped them there. But yeah, I don't know if they can turn this around, Woods. I feel like this is going to be one that I'm really missing on. I think I might have had him, we'll have to revisit that wins draft we did as well. I think I might have had him maybe my 4th or 5th pick or something. So I was sort of expecting they'd be, a top 7 or 8 team in the NBA. I mean, over 10 games under 500. I think they've had 5 wins for the season, and they're a really hard watch as well, aren't they? I mean, Harden's been okay. Kawhi, I don't know. The guy frustrates me, just his inability to turn up and perhaps play through injuries like other people would and that. But I don't think there's really any positive signs in terms of the future for these guys either, right? There's no young depth and they don't have any draft picks either.
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh, yeah, Bogdanovic, another guy washed, man. They've got so many washed guys on this team. Derek Jones Jr., right? He's out.
Well, yeah.
Like, he's the one guy who actually is committed on the defensive end, can, lead this team to play better on the defensive end. So when you lose a guy like that, right, it doesn't help either, right?
Well, that's what I thought. You have guys like him and Chris Dunn and these sort of guys that could sort of, maybe fill those deficiencies at Harden and Bogey.
For sure, man.
Now, we saw Bogey a year and a half ago putting up 40 for the Hawks. He has gone downhill so quickly, right? I thought Hawks obviously knew what they were doing when they traded him away, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bogey, we talked about Brook Lopez, Nicholas Batum, these guys,
Big Zoo's been solid.
He's been great.
Consistent, right? You're going to get your 16 points and your 13 boards from him every game. That's sort of testament to his consistency there. But yeah, what a disappointing team so far.
Agreed.
Right? Maybe a quick word on the Kings. I mean, they've probably had some injury concerns as well. It's just a poorly constructed roster.
Bro, Westbrook, Schroeder, Levine, and DeRozan on the same team. Yeah. I don't need to say any more, right?
It would have been good if it was about 8 seasons ago. They were kind of all, they would have combined well. But yeah, they're struggling. You've got, Murray's back and playing okay.
He's been great.
Guys like Malik Monk sort of disappoints me. He'll have 20 points one game and 4 the next. And none of their sort of young guys have really showed much for me.
Keegan Murray is the one promising sign to come out of them. His last 3-4 games. Have a look at his game log, man. Damn, he's filling up the stat sheet.
On the boards as well, doesn't he?
I like him. Yeah. His brother's not bad in Portland either.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, Chris with a K. All right, well, one last thing on this quick. This has been really fun doing this, Wood. So I want to talk about the MVP race, right? So, look, I think probably every man and his dog would say that Joker's the favourite at the moment.
Well, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that.
Well, tell me who are some other names to look out for apart from Nikola Jokic.
20-1 right now, OKC. SGA is on a tear. He hasn't even had J-Dub. He hasn't had Wiggins. Like, a lot of guys have been out for various times, and he's taken his team to 20-1, right? Basically, he gets 28, 29, 30 points in his sleep, man.
At the moment, they've got Dort, Caruso, and Hartenstein out as well.
Exactly.
So they always seem to have someone out. Yeah.
And this guy is just like, I don't care. You just come with me. Next man up mentality as well on that team, which is terrific. And I just think that, the numbers Joker he just puts up like, I'll have 40 and 15 rebounds and 13 assists. Like, I just do it.
Like yesterday. This might be Joker's best career season, I reckon, stats-wise. But, yeah, you're right with the SGA thing. Let's say at the end of the season, OKC have had, let's say they've had 18 more wins than Denver. That's going to be hard for him to go back-to-back and win it, right? So give me a couple other names. You mentioned Luka before. That probably goes without saying. He had a chance there, but who else?
Milwaukee, right? Like, they've been decent. And Giannis has been...
Aren't they 5 games under 500?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They are now.
He's been decent.
Yeah, they are now. But they started off strongly. He's been injured for a while, right?
So Cade's maybe in that top 5, right?
Yeah, Cade's there. Let's have a look where the Bucks are at now, man, just out of curiosity.
About 11th in the East.
Oh, yeah, 9 and 13, man, at the moment, 11th in the East, yeah. Right, yeah. But Giannis has had solid numbers as well, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. SGA, I think everyone's already quick to sort of, give it to the Joker there. But SGA, if he continues doing what he's doing, he's actually playing a little bit more. They've had a few teams test him in the fourth quarter, maybe more than, maybe that's with some of these outs they've had there. But he's so good at both ends of the court as well, isn't he? I think he's, that sounds weird for someone that's an MVP. It almost feels like he's become a bit underrated. People are trying to focus on, he flops a bit and, he's a free throw merchant, these sort of things like that. But what he's doing and his leadership and just, what he does at both ends of the court is pretty remarkable, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, like I like to call Jalen Johnson early in his career. I mean, you called it with SGA, right? I mean,
yeah, man.
One of the few people in the world that actually bought an SGA Clippers jersey, and
yeah,
probably cost you more money than a normal jersey with all those letters on the back.
For sure, man. And I'm really glad to see that. When you make these sort of picks, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But when you see it eventuate,
And good guys, all right, as we saw in that starting five show.
High character, high quality individual.
He's definitely gone up for me since.
Man, so much respect for him. Yeah.
All right, really appreciate that, Wood. That was a really good NBA wrap there. And
for sure.
We're the way in the season. Who can believe that, right? And looking forward to, I'm sure we'll both have some time off over Christmas to watch a few games there. And Hawks, as I said, have got games on both days of the weekends, which is good.
Hey, I don't have a job for 2 months, bro. I'm going to be watching.
2 months now.
I only start on February 9th, my new role, so I got a little bit of time to watch some basketball games. I'll be prepared for every episode. Don't worry, bro.
All right, let's get into some NBL, but before we start with that, we'll go on to some Boomers news, Wood. So obviously there was a couple of Boomers games. It was the only games we had in that FIBA break. So I came back from overseas, I'm like, what's going on? There's no NBL. But I watched most of these 2 games. I got into a little bit of the second game. But the Boomers pretty lucky, I would have thought, to get these 2 wins in this World Cup qualifying. I think they're in the same group with the Philippines and is it Guam maybe?
Yeah, Philippines, Guam, and Qatar.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so look, in the first game played last Friday in Australia, the Boomers ran out 84-79 winners there. Galloway was really good with 19. Angus Glover 17, and Darvo Hickley, which that actually is his name. We'll talk a little bit more about the name that he's not in the second game. But look, I thought they were pretty lucky. How'd you see that first game? 5-point win for the Boomers there.
Well, firstly, let me say, this FIBA break's been good because we've got 2 quality games. Often the FIBA break comes on, we're off playing, I don't know, Kazakhstan or someone random, right? Whatever, right? And it's always a one-sided game. Even against New Zealand, there's always Australia are usually runaway favorites. What we're seeing here is the gap between the 2 countries is closing. New Zealand are competitive. You've got 11 NBL guys on that roster, and Yanni Wetzel, right?
I'll give you my thoughts on that gap is closing comment there, Wood. So, look, I believe New Zealand have got some great NBL talent, right? Running out that front line of, obviously Meninga, Tyrell Harrison, and then Yanni Wetzel, who's been playing in Europe, sort of thing. I think they've got a lot of NBL players. They don't really have NBA players, do they? So, we're playing with sort of mostly good NBL players and no NBA players. So the gap's kind of closed to that, especially in the big man department. But look, either way, they really tested us there. And let's talk about the second game.
Just quickly on that first game, I just want to make a point out. Angus Glover. I mean, he didn't do anything in the second game, but in that first game, he got hot, right? Knocking down that open 3. And when we talk about Olympic selections, when we talk about future Boomer selections for tournaments, right? And they get that specialist, the Chris Golding or someone like that who can just knock down the 3. Could someone like Angus Glover be looked at in that role in the future?
You're talking like Commonwealth Games teams, qualifying games, Asia Cup, absolutely. I mean, he's had some pretty big games in the NBL this year, and he's someone that when he gets hot, there's probably no one apart from Chris Golding that gets hotter, I guess. So, I like seeing him out there. It's a bit of a good story as well after those injuries that he's overcome and, reinvented his career there. Well, that takes us to game 2. So the Boomers won 79-77. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the last 3 minutes. Look, it's been pretty well documented on social media, and people are ripping into them. So for those that don't know, when the game started, I watch it through ESPN. Other people watch it through KO and things like that. ESPN missed maybe the first 5 minutes. There was some yacht racing, probably one of the worst sports you'll ever see. And then eventually kicked into the game, right? And then I think Isaiah Liafa, who's now maybe out for the season for the Breakers, and your boy Glover had a bit of a scuffle there, and they were sort of sorting out that. And then the coverage went away. I think it might have gone back to that yacht stuff, and it never went back to the game. So the only footage we've got of it was like it's that sort of international coverage there. Of, it's always
YouTube.
someone with a really English accent doing it there. And as I saw on the commentary, the guy clearly had no idea because he called William Darvo Hickley Darvo Hickley, which honestly, as someone that's I fancy myself as a bit of an amateur commentator. Woods nearly 100 games commentated under my belt. That was embarrassing, honestly. An absolute embarrassment that someone has done that. By all accounts, he called him that in the first game too. So,
Shout out to Mookie for like pointing that out on X. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. So Darvo Hickley. So I thought that was pretty poor. But yeah, really disappointing for such a clutch game there, and a game that went right down to the final shot that we didn't see it. But look, we can't sort of change that now. In that game, Keanu Pinder was really big.
Ooh, yes.
Play at both ends there. 21.
Yes.
Nick Kay had 20, Darvo Hickley had 12. It's going to be hard not to call him that. Sam Meninga and Mojave King were pretty good as well. But what were your thoughts? I know you saw most of the game that we could see, and you've seen the replay of the last shot. It wasn't the best play, was it? It was a bit of a broken play.
Yeah.
Hickey got that shot. What did you think?
Well, firstly, let's talk about New Zealand just quickly. I'll touch on Sam Meninga. 19 in the first game, 16 in the second game, right?
Beast, right?
Really impressive. Tell me about that dunk. Him and Jack White, obviously friends, right? You can see him just, Jack White with a little smile back at him. You saw that?
I did. Do you see NBA in his future?
Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. The thing is, the guy can stretch the floor. He's a decent athlete. He's a physical specimen, right?
Yeah.
There shouldn't be a reason why he doesn't get an opportunity at least at Summer League or a tryout. But I mean, he's perfectly fit for a European team, right? Yanni Wetzel goes and does the same thing over there in Europe or wherever he is right now, right?
Get paid, right?
Yeah. And then the other thing you mentioned, Keanu Pinder, we've almost forgotten about him, right? Where is he going off? Japan now? He's playing in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what we saw from Keanu Pinder was he's gone and worked on his game. He's come back and he's added a few things. Defensively, he was great. But what I saw with him is facing up to the basket, and putting the ball on the floor, attacking off the dribble, making plays for his teammates, making plays for himself. And he's showing a skill set. I think Olgun might have mentioned this on the Aussie Hoops Hour, right? And I was thinking exactly the same thing. He doesn't get to show that skill set at Perth often, In Cairns, occasionally, Adam Ford let him do that, right? Freestyle a little bit. But I like that Keanu Pinder, and I thought he was really effective. Yeah?
I kind of felt sad in a weird sort of way watching it, missing, what we could have had with the Wildcats. And, he could have had a lot bigger role with Bryce not on that team there. And, look, you don't blame the guy for going to Japan. He's probably getting paid a lot more there than he would be in the NBL. But, yeah, he was really good. And he's certainly an important, player on that Boomers thing. He's someone that you maybe can't count out even when we've got the full.
Yeah, for sure, man.
There, right? So
for sure.
We know there's some aging players that guys like Delhi and Ingles and Paddy Mills and stuff like that. Keanu Pinder's probably at that peak of his career.
30, 31,
Yeah, so he's getting older as well. But you know what I mean, though. He hasn't lost anything athletic-wise there. So, yeah, so I believe, look, we're off now until, I think, February, where they take on Guam and the Philippines in February.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be interesting there. And good to get that 2-0 start, because it could have easily been a 0-2 start, couldn't it, there? So, all right, good stuff. At least we got some basketball, in terms of, Australian there. But let's talk about this upcoming NBL Round 11. So at the time of recording, Wednesday the 3rd of December, your Sydney Kings game starting in about 5 minutes. So we'll try and wrap this up so we can get to that. Hopefully the coverage on these ESPN channels doesn't drop out there. But, yeah, let's talk a little bit about this round.
Okay, well, let's start with today. As you said, Breakers and Kings, man. Who have you got? After a long break, we get NBL basketball again.
Yeah, I think Kings will be prepared for this one. A lot of these guys on the Breakers team will be backing up from a couple of tough games against the Boomers. So, yeah, I like the Kings in this one.
Yep, me too. Hawks and SEM. I mean, Hawks, they really need to start getting some wins piled up.
Tomorrow night, Woods. It's a shame we're playing ball, but we'll certainly be back for the second game. But yeah, I think the Hawks will get this win. I think you're going to start to see them move up the ladder there. But yeah, 2 really good games tomorrow night, Thursday night. Yeah.
What time are we playing tomorrow night?
We got an 8:30 game, so we're right in the middle. We'll definitely be done in time for the big Wildcats United game.
Right, so, man. Talk to me.
Maybe I'll talk a bit about that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, United seems to have maybe had the measure over the Wildcats a little bit lately, but I think at home, I think Perth could be looking good with this one. I think Duke's settled in now. Yeah, look, it's going to be a really important game, this one. I think the Wildcats have got to start to keep touch with this top 1 or 2 in the league now. So, yeah, I'll say Wildcats in this one.
Yep. Fair enough. I'll agree with you. 36ers versus Bullets. Obviously, the 36ers are going to more than likely take this game out. But the Bullets have got a bunch of new import trio that are going to be playing for the first time. That'll be interesting to see, right?
I obviously was away and didn't see much of the NBL. How did Troy Brown Jr. look for Adelaide? Did he look okay?
Yeah, he looked great, but he's just coming off the bench. He's playing a role, right? Yeah, he was good, man. I mean, you've got Rakocevic and him coming off the bench, which is really effective, right?
Yeah, got to be Adelaide for me there.
Yeah, and DJ Vasiljevic has been coming off the bench. Isaac White's been starting as well, so he's got a lot of depth there on that Adelaide team. All right, okay, let's move on. Breakers, Jack Jumpers.
Yeah, Jack Jumper's their only game of the weekend, isn't it? Breakers sort of backing up there. Look, I'll say the Breakers will win this second game. They seem to be one of these teams that win one, lose one there. So I think their imports need to fire a little bit there if they can get good games from Brockington and those sort of guys. But yeah, I'll say the Breakers win that game at home there against an up and down Jack Jumpers team.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get a good game out of Rob Baker there, stretch the floor. Yeah, I would agree with you, man. The Breakers there.
They need a Baker's dozen for that game.
For sure. Can you see the Taipans being competitive against the Hawks?
You remember what I said last time we went through a couple of weeks ago? I said I'm going to pick whoever's playing the Taipans to win by 10 plus until something changes. So
yep.
I'm sticking with that.
Cool. So you think the Hawks might get a double? Hawks beating SEM and the Taipans?
Wouldn't that be big if they did? Yeah, it just shows you how if they can get it, they'll definitely start to move up a little bit there.
Yep. SEM Phoenix versus United. The throwdown.
They only played a couple of weeks ago as well, didn't they? Yeah, look, I do kind of think United's got their number a little bit. I think they are a little bit vulnerable there with Shea Ely still out. They're missing that extra sort of dog on defence there. But a bit of a road trip for Southeast there. I suppose United have got the road trip as well, so they're both backing up from the Thursday night game. Yeah, I'll say United in a close one here. Yep,
likewise. And you got 2 home games, man.
Look at this one.
Wildcats 36ers. This is the one that's been anticipated for so long, right?
So, firstly, will the crowd boo Bryce?
I hope not.
There might be a couple that do. It wouldn't surprise me. They can be a pretty parochial crowd there. Look, I wouldn't if I was there. I wouldn't do it, especially now the story came out a little bit more of how that was handled there. I was really, really annoyed when it first came out and pretty angry with him. But the more that story came out, it seemed like it was more a Wildcats issue rather than Bryce.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
But, man, can't wait for this one, right? So, yeah, looking forward to I'll sort of set everything aside for Sunday afternoon and watch this game. And, I mean, look, I'll probably put my Homer hat on and say Wildcats to go 2-0. But, geez, you could easily see the Wildcats losing both of these as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, man, they're going to be 2 really good games. Wildcats United, Wildcats 36ers. This is really going to test your ball club against the best in the business to see where you stand, right? So
it was a good round, isn't it? Some good,
very good round
coming up there. Yep. Nice. All right, I appreciate that. Looking forward to some NBL action after being away and then having the FIBA break last week. I'll try and watch it.
Did you pick your Supercoach team or what?
I have put it in. I hate that format. I really don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
I don't either.
Why did they do it? Anyway. Yeah. All right, well, let's get into some true false to finish it off, Woods, and I'll let you get to that.
Oh, man, I didn't even read this on the run sheet, so I'm just doing this off the fly. Let's go.
That's fine. You should have told me that. Now we don't look professional. But, all right.
Okay.
Question 1, true or false? David Duke Jr. is a much better fit with Perth than Mason Jones was.
True.
Why? Well, I think true as well. Why do you think?
I just think that he can give you a little bit more. He's got a little bit more playmaking ability.
Yeah.
He can play on the defensive end. I mean, he's an outstanding wing defender. And I think he just fits into the system a little bit more. He'll do what he needs to do to make the team be successful.
Apparently he's fitting in really well on and off the court, which is great to hear. He's just a little bit bigger than Jones as well, a little bit taller, a little bit stronger, so I think that's made an impact there. We saw him have some good defensive moments, in the game against Adelaide a few weeks ago.
The friendship he's developed with Ben Henschel, right? I heard an interview with him recently and he was asked, is Ben Henschel an NBA level talent? He's like, he definitely is, right? He just needs to hone a few things and I'm here working with Henny as much as I can to help him, so...
That's good. So, no, I'm really, really looking forward to see how it goes in these 2 big games this week. So, look, we've spoken about this team before, and I picked them to go 2-0. But the 4-9 Illawarra Hawks, true or false, will miss the playoffs and play in this season. This is tough.
I think they might just get 6th, man.
Yeah.
I think Tassie will get 7th, and then the 3 others, Brisbane, Cairns, and New Zealand, will just miss out.
Tell you what, you wouldn't want to play them in a play-in, would you?
No, absolutely not.
That team's firing.
It's probably Sydney that's going to play them in the play-in at 5th and 6th. That'd be pretty cool, a play-in between the 2 New South Wales teams. I could see that happening.
Well, this question will be really answered after this double that Illawarra have got this weekend. Right? If they drop both of these games and fall to 4-11, you can almost put a line through them. But if they go 2-0 like we expect there, I think you're right. Probably a play-in.
I mean, 4-11, you got to remember it's only 15 out of 33 games, right? There's a 33-game season. They've got 18 to go. So if they win 12 over the last 18, they have a chance, right?
But if they lose another 2, can you expect them to have that sort of percentage going forward? But it's going to be fun to watch there. All right, true or false, the NBA Rookie of the Year race is going to be way closer than we thought at the start of the season. I think we both thought, just put Cooper Flagg's name on the trophy now. True or false, it's going to be way closer than we thought.
Yes, I think Con Knappel and Cooper Flagg are the guys as the front runners. VJ Edgecombe has hit a bit of a rookie wall at the moment, right?
Well,
he's injured.
There, but talk to us about Con Knappel for people that don't watch Charlotte all the time like you.
I just think that he's just exactly the type of player that the new age NBA is looking for, right? He's willing to shoot off the dribble. He can catch and shoot, right? He's got confidence, right? And I think Charlotte need a breath of fresh air, man. Like, it's just... they've got something to be excited about now. People are going to rock up with Kneppel jerseys. They're going to enjoy. He's got a cool name, Con Kneppel, right?
I can see you getting one of those jerseys.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Hell
We
yeah.
say we like jerseys with random names. You can't get a more random name. than
Nah,
that. So-
and he's a great player, man.
Yeah.
Really enjoy watching him, right? Who does he remind you of? Who was the Sacramento guy who got drafted by Sacramento but never made it in the NBA?
Not Thomas.
No, the white guy.
Jimmy Fredette.
Jimmy Fredette, right? Just
I
like a
think he's
bigger
better-
version of
Yeah,
him.
he's bigger. I don't think he's too bad on the defensive end. I was thinking maybe even someone like a Mike Miller or something.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
that, a little bit. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, Mike Miller, his son's apparently tearing it up in college as well, so that's going to be fun to see him coming through. Right, last true or false. I know where I'm going with this one, but OKC will win 70 plus games this season. So just remind us, Woods, we're a quarter of the way through the year when they're 20-1. Actually, they've been playing this afternoon, so let me check whether they're about to get another win. They are currently, the game is over and they've beaten Golden State by 12. So OKC Woods are currently 20-1. Maybe that hasn't updated 21.
Yeah, it has.
Either way, do you think they'll win 70 plus games?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's never going to be more likely. As I said to you earlier, SGA's been playing without his number 2 for the whole season.
Yeah.
And they're still 20-1, right?
I think they won, was it 68 games maybe last year? They fell a little bit short of 70. I can see him getting in that 70s. And we know that is just an incredible feat for any team that gets in the 70s. It's just amazing if they can do it. So I hope they do. And maybe there's a little bit less competition. There's no other real standout teams that's going to, like another, say a team in the East, for example, Detroit might level out a bit. But there's no teams that I can see winning high 60s there. So maybe they beat up on some of these lesser teams and they get into the 70s, which would be incredible, right? So
I'm with you.
all right, appreciate that, Woods. Well, let's go to a bit of an outro. Fun show, mate. It was good to be back.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Good to be doing what we love doing each week, and appreciate everyone's support as always. So, as I mentioned, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube. Leave us some comments, likes, all those sort of cool things, or wherever you listen to your audio podcasts. Look, we're probably going to keep it pretty much just the two of us. I'd say maybe just to round out the year, Woods. But I know we've got a lot of guests. We've got guests which we've mentioned we're going to get on. We've sort of run out of time with. So I've got probably about 8 people.
I got 3 or 4 as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
look out for some guests in the new year there. But as I mentioned, socials as well. We'll get some. Maybe I'll get a picture of this card, Woods, and you can put that on.
Put the Chris Boucher card, man.
Yeah, Chris Boucher / Luka Doncic, and maybe that jersey of yours. That's a pretty random one there. We'll get that on X there. You know our handles where we sort of post these things. Patreon as well. If anyone wants to pledge a few dollars to help with the production and everything, we'd really appreciate that. Final thoughts, Woods? What do you got for us?
Man, it's just good to be back, right? After the FIBA break, you've been overseas, we've been away from the show and different priorities in life. So now we're getting into that time of year when work settles down a bit. We got time off and we can take in and enjoy as many games as we like, man.
I've got to get to a Kings game with you. I saw they've got the pink round game with the Flames double in January. So if you can score one of those, beautiful seats, if any of your mates are going to be away for that game, let me know and I'll come and sit down in row 5 or whatever.
Done, man.
Yeah, either way. And maybe we've got to get our Thursday night team. We did talk about that, getting a bit of a game over the New Year period or something. So let's look at that as well. So,
Okay.
All right. Really appreciate it, Woods. Can't wait to do it all again next week. And it's a big peace out from the Throwback Hoops crew.